And welcome to All Dressed Up.
And nowhere to go.
I'm Benny Malone, the Artistic Director of the Wonderbolt Circus.
And I'm Anahareo. I'm the co-founder, co-producer of the St. John's International CircusFest. And I will also run iFly Aerial Arts. And every week I've kind of had something to report about iFly. And now I can announce that we are hosting some social distance protocol camps. So they're a little bit smaller. So in that case, the first two filled up really quick. So we added a third week. So check out our Facebook page for that for in August.
Oh, well, in view of all these shameless self-promotions, Wonderbolt Circus is also going to be having a circus camp this summer in the second 2 weeks of August. So check out Wonderbolt website for more information on that.
And here we are, it's episode 6.
Wow.
I can't believe how
Time
time
flies.
just really flew, especially when you really have nothing else to do.
No way to go. Just get dressed up. That's all we can do. That's a
We
really
managed
nice
to change
outfit.
outfits every week.
Yeah, that's a
keeping
really
it
good one.
fresh.
What's the
So,
story behind that?
about this dress, first of all, it's pants. I like that little feature, if you hadn't caught on. And this one, I have to say, I wore it last year at the St. John's Circus Fest, and I wore it to the Lady Cove and National Circus School show, which was an amazing moment in time. Hey,
One of
that
my
show.
favorite shows, I think, that we've done.
Yeah, so I like how the outfits kind
So
of
it's got a good
remind me
vibe.
of that. It has a very good vibe, and
Yeah,
I'm in
nice.
a good vibe kind of mode here, episode 6. So this is the last in this series, but don't worry, we've gotten digital savvy here, so
Yeah.
we're going to be doing some more digital stuff in about a
right.
month's time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. But let's talk about tonight's show.
Well, tonight we have a guest from a very funky favorite city of mine, Berlin. And his name is Tigris, Philip. He goes by the stage name of Tigris. Fabulous contortionist. And he's a personal friend of yours, so...
Yes, he is. I met Tigris many years ago in Berlin. We worked on a show together there, and I just fell in love with this artist, this person. He's just incredible. He started circus at a very young age, at around 7, and he's actually self-taught. So that means he didn't do a school. He just really taught himself everything that you're seeing him doing right now. He's been performing for over 20 years. In his late teens, he discovered the cabaret scene in Germany. And I would have to say that Philip has done probably every cabaret in Germany once or twice. He's a household name in Germany, Tigris. He also became, as you can see, he's a male contortion hula hoop artist, and he became one of the most sought out contortionists, male contortionists in Europe. So imagine that, that's pretty amazing.
Fabulous.
He's done festivals. And what I find so inspiring about this particular artist and this person, I mean, he trains like you wouldn't believe every single day. But also, every trick he does, he's taught himself, and he's still learning new tricks to this day, which is just super
In fact,
incredible.
fabulous new tricks, too, that
Yeah.
really been working on.
So, I mean, I could just sit here and watch Tigris for a long time.
Yeah.
Look him up. I follow him regularly on Instagram and on Facebook. I hope a lot of you do as well. So really, let's just give a warm welcome to Tigris!
Hi, Tigris.
Hello, guys.
Hi,
Thanks
Tigris.
for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here all the way from Germany.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. You look very handsome.
Oh, thank you so much. I can say the same thing for you.
Thanks. All the way from Berlin. I love it.
Yeah,
True.
Tigris, I saw you perform in Berlin a long time ago. Loved it.
Ages ago. Don't say the number.
No, we won't say the number. It'll be bad for both of us.
At the Chameleon, one of my favorite venues in the world, I would have to say.
Yeah.
And probably one of my favorite shows that I did was with Tigris. I got to say, that was a lot of fun.
So much fun. It was so much fun.
And I know you've been all over the world with your act, your incredible act. So I was just wondering, like, how old were you, Tigris, when you started circus? How did you get into it? What led you to it?
I got into it, well, I think with 5 years, my grandma took me to a circus that came to town. And from that moment on, I was kind of hooked. And then with actually 7 years, I started training contortion. So that was for me the beginning age.
And was that at a school, or like, where did you study?
I'm self-taught. I started really by myself in my kids' room. I
Right.
come from a doctor's family, and they're both not that thrilled about having their son want to join the circus. So it was pretty obvious from the very beginning, I'm not allowed to go to circus school. So for me, contortion was the only thing I could train at my own room at home.
I love it.
So contortion it is. I didn't even like it in the very beginning, I must say. I found contortion incredibly boring, but it was just the easiest for me to start with because you don't need any props, you don't need much space, and it's not scary. And yeah, that's how I got started. And once first day my foot touched my head, I started to like it.
Then
I
you were
bet.
sold.
Wow, and it's great. I mean, you're a
Wow.
guy doing contortion, you know, and a strong guy doing contortion. So that's a different look too than you're used to seeing for contortionists.
That's true. I get that a lot. And actually, I feel that's kind of my bonus because there are so many fabulous contortionists out there, much more flexible than I am. But I don't look like a contortionist.
Yeah.
I might be the butchest and fattest contortionist ever.
Agreed.
It's so good. And you mentioned that you went to a circus with your grandma. What inspired you to do circus? Was it seeing a show or an artist, or like what inspired you to be training in your room and taking that path as a career?
It was actually the whole experience, because when I went to the circus, I clearly remember, I don't even remember single acts. I just remember that the whole world was such a different to the one that I knew. I just entered this tent and it smelled differently, and the whole excitement around it and what happened there on stage, it was all so mesmerizing and fascinating that it all just took me in. And I think the whole experience was it that changed my mind and created this wish to join the circus.
Was it a tent show? Did you see a show in it? Was it inside a tent, the one you saw?
Yeah, it was a touring tent show, very traditional with lots of animals. I actually fell in love with the elephants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you have a big love for animals. I know you have some snakes and you have a year-round pass at the Berlin Zoo. I love it.
I do. True.
We've been
Guilty as charged.
We've been doing our research.
I think I might have went to the zoo with you.
I'm the best guide you can find.
So,
I'm sure.
I mean, the circus does create these great environments, tent shows and theater shows and stuff. And you've been involved in so many different things, from cabaret to traveling circuses. What was the most memorable, magical show that you were in?
I have to name maybe 3 shows that are really very dear to my heart. It was, of course, the chameleon one that Anahareo already mentioned. It was basically, yes, absolutely.
I just loved it.
It was really a milestone, and it felt like it brought me so much further in my career. Then the second one I would like to mention is a dinner show I did in Copenhagen for a whole year. It's called Valmans, in a beautiful circus venue. And the third one that is my absolute favorite is Limbo. I joined the circus show Limbo on tour in Australia. And when I started, it was in Sydney Festival. It was my first time out of Europe, and it was first time with this fabulous show with incredible colleagues doing their thing. And this was definitely a highlight in my career.
Right. Was that an Australian show, or was it based out of Australia, Limbo?
The company who created Limbo is based in Australia, but the show actually tours worldwide. So I've done, I think, 7 seasons with the show since that. I'm with them since 5 years now. And we've also done Netherlands, and we've been to Romania. So it's traveling through the whole world.
So Canada's next. I just gotta write that down.
2021.
Hopefully.
We have him.
Yes,
we have
please.
him booked.
Well, we know you're coming.
We
We're
know
looking
you're
forward to
coming
that.
here.
I do.
Speaking of cabarets, so I have to say we worked at the Chameleon together, and same with me. I mean, I went to Berlin to do that show for 6 months, and I stayed for 7 years. Like I fell in love with Berlin, but also with that scene. I'm a little bit curious because I know everything has kind of been put on hold now, and things are starting to reopen. What's it look like in Berlin right now for the cabaret scene? Are there shows starting up? Do venues have to change? Is the audience size different? Are you aware of any current changes?
Unfortunately, Berlin is very much behind the whole development with shows opening. I know that there are a few cabarets and variety theaters already starting to work again. So, for instance, Kristallpalast in Leipzig is back on stage, and Varieté etc. in Bochum or Hamburg started again too.
I think the GOPs.
And I hear it's running quite well, but they have to limit the number of audience, of course, for safety reasons. But they are back again.
Great, that's good news.
Yeah, very much so.
So, do you have any upcoming projects that'll get you out and performing in Berlin, in Germany, or anywhere in the world for that matter?
The thing is, before the Corona thing happened, I actually was on tour with a really beautiful 20s themed show called Glanz auf dem Vulkan.
Okay.
And we had just started. We've been on tour just for 2 months and we're meant to tour the whole year through. And then Corona came and interrupted our tour. So all those dates are postponed now for hopefully September. September, we should be back on tour again.
Okay, that's great.
Awesome. And
hopefully.
we
Keep your fingers crossed.
Good luck
you
with
are
that.
our poster boy still this year.
Yeah.
So just to let you know.
Thank you so much.
We couldn't resist.
You'll probably be next year too.
But you'll
right?
probably be next year too.
Oh.
But this show has been a lot of fun because we've had past guests on and we've had future guests. But we're really excited to have you here, and it will be 2021 in person. And we just can't wait to have you here, Philip.
It's just a taste. A
Just
preview.
give me 1 more year to get more flexible.
Exactly. So train hard because I know you don't train at all. So please pick up your training. And I know that you prepared a little video. I think, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, exactly. I have a little video that kind of explains my feeling during this whole pandemic. I know that there are a lot of people who learned the ukulele or foreign languages during this lockdown time. I'm very happy for those. I didn't do that. I just tried to keep up with my technical things. So there's one video where I do actually my hardest trick that I just learned 3 years ago in a very empty theater. And that's how life pretty much felt during this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
really.
I'm looking forward. And I find it super inspiring, Philip, that you're still learning new tricks. And a lot of artists get an act and then just sell that act maybe for 10 years. But you're someone I'm super inspired that you are still doing new things. And it's great to see. Look forward to seeing your video.
Thank you so much. I would actually like to add this because I love it about circus that there's always a way that you can learn new things.
Yeah.
You're never too old to learn new things in
Agreed.
circus,
Totally.
which is really something I absolutely love about this whole business.
Yeah,
me
it's
too.
so true.
That's great. That's great, Tigris. So good to see you. Looking forward to seeing you in person.
Can't wait to give you a
Thank
hug.
you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at your video.
Say
Great.
hi to Berlin for me, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will.
Okay.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
So far from who I was, from who I love, from who I want to be. So far from all our dreams, from what love means, from you here next to me.
so good
Wow.
to see.
I mean, you got to wonder how someone even gets the idea to do that.
Yeah.
To think, oh yeah, that's possible. I'm going to suspend myself in a contortion pose and just be balanced by my mouth.
And that trick, I know for a fact, he only learned 2 years ago. So this is like
You
something,
know,
like talk about
That's
learning
inspiring,
something
hey?
new.
That is totally
I found
inspiring.
the videos super. I think I got too like in my head thinking about it.
Yeah.
Philosophical here, but it's just so interesting to see a solo artist because I
Yeah.
also had a solo career where I didn't work necessarily in collectives. I mean, I got to
Yeah.
work in Philip and we put together a show, which was great, but it is so much on your own.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing Philip just now in the gym by himself and have that moment after, and it's like, yes, we're in this whole strange pandemic, but often you're alone, you're on tour alone, and then to see the theater was also very symbolic. Right now he's performing to an empty theater, but he's still performing.
Yeah, and
he's
it's
still doing, right?
It takes so much to keep going by yourself. It takes a lot of discipline
Yeah.
and a lot of real dedication to
Yeah.
what you're doing and a vision. And
So you're going to want to see him live in 2021.
You
I
certainly
promise
are. You certainly are. And you're also going to want to see.
you. Yeah,
Sido.
well, you're going to want to hear about Sido as well. So
Yeah.
we, like I said, we have our biggest distance of guests. We have, hey you, we had Tigris all the way from Berlin. Here's Sido from
Yes.
Vancouver.
Yeah, and
tell us
Sido's
about
an
her.
international circus artist based in Vancouver. She began her circus career with Circus West, and then she performed all over the world in cabarets, shows, cruise ships too. She loves the physical aspect of performance, and you can see that even here as she's working. She's just a joyous entertainer to watch. Her main acts and her creativity, she's always doing unique things. One of her main acts is the cascorde, which is a multi-rope apparatus, an original multi-rope apparatus. And she also does aerial hoops, solo dance, solo silks, unicycle, I mean, you name it. Sido's doing it, trying it, working on an act with it. And she also does clowning, and she's a great character actress. She's really fun to be around. She was at our last 2 circus festivals. We loved having her here. And we're thrilled to have her here as a guest on All Dressed Up. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Sido!
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Hi
Hey,
Sido, how you doing?
You look so good.
Yeah?
Oh, thank you. Thanks for giving me an excuse.
It is. It's nice to have a reason, hey, to kind of get dressed up,
Yeah,
get out of bed even.
get on the
Yeah.
go.
So Sido, I've been following you on Facebook, and I'm just curious how life is in Vancouver right now. I've seen you training unicycle, doing some new tricks, and I saw an awesome structure in your backyard. Super jealous because I think Vancouver has better weather than here. So tell us a little bit about life in Vancouver.
Yeah, so unicycle has been great. I've been wanting to spend some time focusing on that and kind of relearning things I was much better at when I was younger. So, but it's a bit of a funny process because it's very different from aerial, obviously. So there's a lot of falling and just cackling alone in a training studio, which is
I know.
good fun. I don't feel like I'm going crazy at all. And the aerial rig I bought in early May, I'd been thinking about it for about a year. I mean, they're a great thing to have if you want to work locally because it just opens up a lot more possibility for gigs. But Vancouver's weather's not necessarily better than St. John's. So it arrived in mid-May. I think I've succeeded in training on it 4 times since then. It rained the entire month of June.
So my perception's totally wrong.
And even right now, like I had to turn on all the lights in my living room because it's that gray outside.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
rest assured, coastal is coastal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But it is good to have that place to training that you kind of control, except for the weather, obviously. I know what you're saying about the unicycle. When I learned how to ride a unicycle, I had to do it while kids were in school, because if I ever tried it out in the parks and stuff, you'd just be surrounded by people watching me fall down continuously. Very humbling.
Yeah.
So I didn't unveil it until I kind of had to learn exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
But Sido, you've been here. You've performed at both festivals, and you travel all over the country. So just wonder if you give us a bit of background on your circus career, what led you into what you're doing. The kind of circus skills that you're inspired by.
I'm wondering, did you go to school in Vancouver, or just like a little bit about your background?
Yeah. So I ended up starting out at Circus West in Vancouver, which was then known as Circuits. It's a recreational not-for-profit circus school. And that's kind of where I got my first taste. And that was mostly because I did not like gymnastics. There were too many rules. They would not let me climb on the things that I wanted to climb on. So that was a very short-lived gymnastics career. And then I was at Circus West till I was about 19. And from there, I kind of ended up taking a similar route to Tigris, where it was like, I want to do this. There's not a lot here. I guess I'm figuring this out. And I got really lucky. There was a collective of aerialists in Vancouver at the time called the Great Northern Way Aerial Club. And we trained out of a scene shop, like a really tiny, tiny space in a dirty warehouse. But some of the most developed aerialists in Vancouver were there, who are now my very dear friends. And it became this kind of accidental apprenticeship almost for me. So they kind of took me under their wing a little bit and showed me how to do corpo. And yeah, so those were kind of the two. It's not like a school in that I didn't get a degree or anything, but that's sort of how I ended up learning the ropes, pun very much intended. Yeah.
Awesome. Speaking of ropes, I was so thrilled when I got introduced to you through, I think, Tanya Burka. I'll give her credit, I think, for introducing me to you. And the first year we did the St. John's CircusFest, I really wanted to have people from all across Canada. As you know, Sido, it's concentrated in Montreal. I mean, we are represented here on the East Coast, right? And so I was thrilled when I knew there was this amazing aerialist in Vancouver, and I just heard your praises. And it was so awesome. You came the first year and did your, how would you call that exactly? I know there's a specific name for your multi-cord.
Yeah, so I call it cascade now, like cascade, with cord. And it's a multi-rope versus multi-cord. And the reason that I make that distinction is that texturally it's very different to work with.
And they're thinner, right? So
yeah, it's just a different monster.
So I just love that apparatus. And then the next year, of course, I love bringing people back. And I just, we loved having you here. And it was amazing to have you come back the second year. And then you were in L'Impro Cirque, just kind of threw you in that one. And you did that gorgeous hoop act. I'm curious, of the 2 years that you came here, was there anything that stood out for you for the festival? Any highlight of yours, like in particular?
Definitely Impro Cirque was something I never saw coming. Like I never would have ever imagined myself doing something like that. So that was incredibly fun and incredibly special. And just the group that we had on stage for that particular iteration of it was just so different and great, right? Like, I think they said at that point that was maybe the only Impro Cirque that had no backflips in it, right? It was just different. We all had to do different stuff, and it was really fun. So that is a huge highlight. And honestly, teaching, like as much as I love the performing of St. John's, getting to work with the students there and the people that come over from the other Atlantic provinces, like that's such a huge highlight for me. I really look forward to my workshops every time I come through because they're just such a joy to teach and so eager to learn.
Yeah.
Wow, great.
We love that aspect because the workshop side of the festival is a lot of planning, as you can imagine, like just kind of, and I remember the second year going, oh, it's so much work, it's already a lot of stuff, but to see how successful they were and to see how, having drawing students from all across Canada to come take these workshops and having people like you teach. So I'm glad that also the instructors feel the same way that I feel about that. That's really great.
So as we come out of the pandemic into our new normal, have you got any upcoming plans, any upcoming contracts, any place you really want to go to once you are able to?
Yeah, it's a funny place to be in. So I'm actually producing a digital circus show this summer, which is terrifying because me and my two close friends that I'm producing this with, we're not videographers. So there's a very steep learning curve there. But that's kind of the next thing that we're doing. In terms of travel, like, I don't know about you, but I just want to go and visit all my friends. Like, circus is such a wonderful thing in that you get to meet people all around the world. But when and you won't see them every Tuesday, right? Like we live in different countries, we live in different provinces, but the possibilities there. And when that possibility is suddenly cut off, it just, I would love to just fly everywhere and see everyone I know, even if it's just for 30 seconds after this. Like, obviously St. John's is always high on my list too, because it's like, again, it's the coast thing, right? Like I go there and it feels like my second home, like probably because of the rain.
Probably. Well, you should come now. I wish you could. We just went this week and saw whales. And like, it was like being at SeaWorld. It was a show for like 2 hours. We saw like 12 whales. So I'm like, I think that's one of the reasons that we attract people here is because it has such a beautiful scenery. And that scenery is going to stay, COVID, no COVID.
Yeah.
So you'll be back. I'm sure you'll be back sooner than later.
Yeah.
And I'm like you. I just want to travel the world. I want to go give Philip a hug. I want to go give you a hug. I want to run around, dance in the streets, and just be like, oh my God, we're all here.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that moment.
And then not wash your hands just to rebel.
And no mask, and we'll just be like, one day. I know that you also prepared a little video for us. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. So it's a little hoop sequence that I've been messing around with just to get used to that wonderful feeling of sequencing in a fast spin again. Because that goes downhill real fast. And then I'm just sharing some moments of struggle on my unicycle as I start to develop some new things, which, I mean, who doesn't want to watch people fall off stuff?
Exactly.
Before we watch your video, though, I am really curious, because you didn't go to a school. I'm just wondering, is there an artist or what inspired you in your career? Like, what was the moment when you were like, I want to be a circus artist? Besides just the training, was there seeing a performer? Is there a certain performer or show that like stands out in your memory?
So I'm of the Kidam generation, right? I'm of that group of aerialists that watched that synchro Cerceau act and fell in love with the possibility there. So that was a pretty big one. In fact, that was my first introduction to hoop, was being shown that video and then being given a hoop.
Yeah.
There you go. Learning curve there too. So that was a big source of inspiration. When I was like 18 or 19, I saw Megan Wegg in Loft. Also
I love
really
that act.
beautiful moment for me. And then of course, Tanya Burka, meeting Tanya. And that was kind of where my career went from being really just in Vancouver to opened up to the possibility of working elsewhere, and also the wonderful thing that is to work and create with Tanya once we figured out that we were some kind of bizarre relative of some, I don't know, there's two of us. We think the same way. It's maybe not a good thing.
And look a little bit alike too.
That was also a great moment. And in terms of companies that inspire me right now, I really enjoy the work that's coming out of New Zealand. There's a company called Dust Palace from out of there. And the last two shows I've seen of theirs have just been amazing, like beautiful storytelling work. Right. Amazing technical quality. Like, I mean, I feel like circus, there's just always something new to see, and there's always something new to learn. Like Tigris said, it's never ending, and that's what makes it so beautiful and awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Kidam, Megan, and Tanya, that's three iconic circus moments.
Oh yeah, I did not set that bar low.
No, you did not.
It's always good.
It's great to see you. We're looking forward to seeing your videos.
Yeah.
And looking forward to seeing you in person. We got a show to work on yet, Sido.
Come back.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Great to see you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh man,
Oh, that was
that's
so great.
I love watching the unicycling because it's so much like that. It's you're falling down, you're picking it up, and all of a sudden, bang, you get it, you know, and then you don't have it. You got to keep working, and you finally got it forever. You know, you have these little leaps of inspiration and leaps of physical achievement. And then you got to keep working at them to maintain them. It's great. It's
And
such hard
there's
work,
not
but it's
many
great.
female unicyclers, so
No,
that's pretty
no.
really cool. And I mean, her hoop aerial work is just stunning. So,
It really is
so
stunning.
beautiful. So
Yeah, and,
yay,
and the
thank
clown
you,
work. She does
Sido.
a great clown duo
Yeah.
with Tanya that we
She's an
saw
all-round
in
artist.
Vancouver. Yeah, she's really all around.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for episode 6. I could absolutely not finish this episode without asking you about this shirt.
Oh my! I got this shirt in the Azores last year. I haven't worn it to a festival yet, like all your outfits, but I'll promise to wear it at the next festival.
I love it. So like we said, this is our last episode, but do join us in a month's
Yeah.
time when we're going to do a big
Release or a reveal of our upcoming festival. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be a lot of digital aspects, obviously, and live aspects. But we'll have some guest artists here and some of the people who are putting it together, like Diana Daly, who's behind the scenes putting this whole thing together.
and Ian Campbell.
Ian Campbell and Brad Gover, all our team from Wonderbolt, who are really working hard on this. And we're really excited and looking forward to unveiling it at a future all dressed up in about a month's time.
Yeah. So we want to say a big thank you, of course. We just thanked the Wonderbolt team, including Marion and Connie, who are
Yeah.
also part of that team.
Yes,
We've
that's right.
really done great for these past 3 months.
And our board, all the people in Wonderbolt that help us out. And of course,
Of course, the people behind the scenes are Marco and Steph.
Hey!
And
great job, guys.
that was our best episode yet.
Yeah.
So it's always the way. we learn something every week.
And it's true, this was a learning experience for us. Like a lot of people out there, through the pandemic, had to rethink and relearn things. This was, we learned a lot over these 6 episodes. We're going to put everything we learned to good use in the festival that we do forward and in all the work we do going forward. So, you know, this is a shout out to all the artists who took the time and who got pushed to the cutting edge and who learned new skills and kept going and found new ways to present their art to the public. So, you know, our hats off to all of you. We're just part of this whole circus community trying to, you know, get through it, learn new skills and keep going.
And just because we're talking digital and how much we've learned, everyone's kind of doing new things.
Yep.
There's Complement Cirque that's now doing Complement Presque Cirque.
Yep.
And part of that festival is what they call the MIC, Marché International de
Yeah,
Cirque
we had a local
Contemporain.
group, Smoke Show, who did a drive-in show the other night, and we know people are doing parades and all kinds of different ways to
So-
get their workout, doing outdoor classes, everything else. So look, keep on going, everybody. We're in it with you, and we really look forward to gathering at the end of September, having a real talk about where we've come from, where we're going, and just celebrating circus and our friendships.
If you want to see me again, you can see me tomorrow. I'll be at the MIC. I am going to be there as a Canadian presenter, so you can join a working group with me.
Yep.
And they've done some great digital stuff. Check out the MIC. There's still one more day left, so you should
Yep.
go check that out.
Yep.
And we'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Have a great summer.
Ciao.
See you in a
Have a great
month's time.
month.
Bye, everybody.